I just have a question here from Fiona. Can you give the break-even point for each of those salaries and how much to sacrifice? Can you give a break-even point for each of the salaries and how much the salary sacrifice? So relating to Fiona's question there was, when should I salary sacrifice? Now, it's not right for everybody to salary sacrifice, and there's a few things to factor in. So if you have consumer debt, credit cards, car loans, personal loans, then really that should be the focus rather than salary sacrificing. If you do have a mortgage and you're a fair way from your preservation age, then generally salary sacrificing a lot of money into super, unless you're on a high income, might not be the best strategy. So you need to just weigh up those, if you've got debt, that should be a priority. But there is a point where either if you're on a high income and you're going to save a lot by salary sacrificing, or you're getting close to your preservation age and the age at which you can access your super, and you might be saving $6,000 in tax. Interest rates are low, and so if you're going to access your super money in a couple of years and save, $6,000 a year by not paying off the mortgage, then it can be a beneficial thing to defer paying off the mortgage, save the tax, and then once you have access to your super, pay down the mortgage a little bit more there. So think about, should I be paying off my debt before I salary sacrifice? It's a good question to ask. So before you salary sacrifice, consider whether you should be paying off your debt first. The other thing that we'll go into a fair bit of detail on here is your tax rate. If your income is less than $20,500, you're generally paying no tax, and therefore it's not worth salary sacrificing. I have some people earning $20,000, they're paying no income tax, but then they decide to salary sacrifice $10,000 of that income, and rather than paying no tax, they end up paying 15% tax on that money. So they're paying an additional $1,500 a year because they are salary sacrificing. So it's not always applicable. You need to be earning over the $20,500 figure for it to be worthwhile. Your contribution limits, we'll go into that. Don't exceed them because there are penalties. Can you afford it from a cash flow perspective? You might be saving thousands of dollars in tax, but if you can't pay for your everyday expenses, it's not a worthwhile strategy really to pursue. And the other thing to factor in is, when can you access your super? If you're 30 years of age today and you're only going to be able to access your money in 30 years, then you probably don't want to be too aggressive on salary sacrificing to superannuation unless you are on really high incomes and paid off your mortgage, for example.